The Jordan Show on YouTube.
Welcome to our deep dive into the world of Intel.
Yeah.
We're going to uncover the secrets
Right.
of their incredible survival in the cutthroat semiconductor industry. Think Game of Thrones, but with silicon and billion-dollar market battles.
Absolutely.
We're going to explore how Intel, faced with rivals like AMD, IBM, and even the rise of ARM,
Yep.
managed not just to stay afloat, but become like a titan of the tech world.
That's right.
And I think what's so fascinating is that even Intel's origin story is intertwined with a competitor.
Yeah, they're founders.
Yeah.
Robert Noyce and Gordon Moore actually came from Fairchild Semiconductor,
Right.
a pioneer in the early days of transistors and integrated circuits.
So from day one, Intel was born into this environment of
Yeah.
fierce competition.
Absolutely.
It's like they inherited this competitive spirit
Yeah.
from their experience at Fairchild.
Exactly. They didn't just want to make great tech.
Right.
They wanted to outmaneuver the competition.
Right.
And Fairchild was just the first opponent in a long line of many. Yeah.
Think about Motorola, another big player in the 70s and 80s. Their 68,000 series chips were actually powering those early Apple Macintosh computers.
Wow.
Imagine a world where that chip had won out,
Right.
where Intel didn't become synonymous with the PC.
That's a mind-blowing thought.
Yeah.
So it seems like Intel had a target on its back
It's
from the very beginning.
Absolutely. And that constant pressure that you need to adapt and innovate.
Right.
That's a recurring theme in Intel's story.
Yeah.
It's like a survival instinct
Yeah.
that's been baked into their DNA.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the 80s.
Okay.
The decade of big hair and even bigger tech battles.
Right.
This is when AMD enters the scene.
Yes.
So get this, they start as Intel's partner.
Right. They had this licensing agreement
Yeah.
to manufacture x86 processors.
Right.
It was supposed to be a win-win.
Okay.
With AMD helping to meet the growing demand for Intel's architecture.
But I'm guessing things didn't stay friendly for very long.
Not exactly by the 90s.
Yeah. AMD had ambitions of their own.
Okay.
They weren't content playing second fiddle to Intel.
Right.
When they launched their Athlon processors in 99, they were actually beating Intel's Pentium III in performance tests.
Wow.
And to make things even more challenging for Intel,
Yeah.
AMD was playing the price game, often undercutting Intel's prices.
So now Intel's got this double whammy to deal with.
Right.
A competitor that's outperforming them and undercutting their prices. They must have been feeling the heat.
This was a critical moment for Intel.
Yeah.
They couldn't rest on their laurels.
Right.
They couldn't just rely on their brand name.
Right.
They had to fight back, and that's where things get really interesting.
So we've got AMD breathing down Intel's neck,
Yeah.
but the challenges didn't stop there, right?
Right.
I remember IBM being a major force
Oh, absolutely.
in the tech world back then.
In the 80s, IBM was the behemoth
Yeah.
of the tech industry. And they were doing something very interesting. They were developing their own chips.
Right.
And using Intel's depending on the system.
Oh, wow.
So this put Intel in a very tricky position.
Yeah.
They were competing with IBM in some areas while also supplying them in others.
Wow.
It was a delicate balancing act.
So Intel's fighting a war on two fronts.
Exactly.
AMD is going after their core PC market.
Yeah.
And IBM, this massive corporation, is looming in the background,
That's right.
playing both sides of the field. Talk about a high-stakes game.
It was, and just when you thought things couldn't get any more complicated for Intel,
Yeah.
a new kind of competitor emerged in the 2000s.
Okay.
ARM processors.
Right.
Now, these weren't designed for desktops or servers.
Yeah.
They were all about power efficiency.
Right. This is when smartphones and tablets were starting to take off.
Exactly.
And I remember hearing that Intel's chips weren't really the best fit for those devices.
That's true. ARM's chips, with their focus on low power consumption,
Right.
were perfect for the mobile world. Companies like Qualcomm and Apple jumped on the ARM bandwagon,
Right.
and suddenly a whole new battleground had emerged.
Right.
One where Intel was initially caught off guard.
This is starting to feel like a tech epic.
Yeah.
With multiple rivals emerging from
It
different directions.
It is.
It's incredible that Intel not only managed to survive through all of this, but stayed on top.
It really is. And I think a lot of it comes down to their ability to make bold, sometimes risky decisions,
Yeah.
and a relentless focus on innovation.
So let's talk about those decisions.
Okay.
What were some of the key moves that allowed Intel to thrive in the face of such intense competition?
One of the boldest moves, and one that might seem counterintuitive at first, was their decision in the 80s to abandon the memory chip business.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
They were dominating the memory chip market at the time.
They were.
Why would they walk away from that?
It was a huge gamble,
Yeah.
but it was based on a strategic vision. They recognized that the future was in microprocessors,
Right.
the brains of computers. They decided to go all in on that bet.
This must be where Andy Grove, their CEO at the time, comes in.
Absolutely.
He was known for his decisive leadership and long-term vision.
Yeah. Grove played a crucial role in that decision.
Right.
He understood that to win the long game, they had to focus their resources and expertise
Right.
on what they believed would be the defining technology of the future.
Okay, that makes sense. Any other major strategic plays that we should know about?
Definitely in the mid-2000s,
Okay.
they introduced the tick-tock model for development. This was a brilliant strategy where they'd alternate between shrinking the size of transistors on a chip,
Okay.
the tick,
Okay.
and introducing a completely new microarchitecture, the POC,
Okay.
every year.
So it's like a two-pronged approach.
Exactly.
Constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible, both in terms of miniaturization and architectural innovation.
Exactly. And this strategy worked incredibly well for a long time.
Okay.
It allowed Intel to consistently outpace competitors
Yeah.
and maintain their lead in the PC and server markets.
So it seems like Intel's success is not just about having great technology, it's also about making smart strategic decisions,
Right.
often driven by the vision and determination of key individuals.
Absolutely.
It's about knowing when to double down and when to pivot.
Precisely. And what's really fascinating is that this constant pressure from rivals,
Yeah.
this need to constantly innovate and adapt,
Right.
may have actually benefited the entire industry and ultimately consumers like you.
It's like that saying, iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
The competition forced everyone to raise their game.
Absolutely. Without AMD pushing them, would Intel have developed the incredible Pentium processors?
Right.
The Core series, the Xeon chips that power data centers today?
Right.
It's hard to say.
This rivalry definitely pushed the boundaries of technology. But I'm also curious about how the people within Intel responded to these challenges.
That's a great point and something we'll explore in more detail.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, Intel's story is also a human story.
Right.
It's about the engineers, the designers, the leaders, all the individuals who came together to build this company.
Right.
Their stories are just as fascinating as the technology itself.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's amazing to think about all the challenges Intel faced.
Yeah.
It really highlights the survival of the fittest aspect of the tech industry. But as you mentioned, it's not just about the chips themselves. What about the people behind those innovations? What were they like?
Yeah, what fascinates me is that Intel's story isn't just about silicon and code, it's about the people.
Right.
The engineers who toiled away in the labs, the executives who made those bold decisions, the countless individuals who brought their talent and passion to this company, their drive and vision played a crucial role in Intel's journey.
Absolutely. So let's shift gears a little bit and dive into this human side of Intel. Who are some of the key figures that stand out in your mind?
Well, we've already touched upon Andy Grove.
Right.
A truly remarkable leader. His story is one of resilience, vision, and a relentless drive to succeed. He really embodies the spirit of Intel.
He was CEO during a pivotal time for Intel, right?
Exactly.
The 80s and 90s when the competition was really heating up.
Yeah, he was at the helm when Intel made that gutsy call to abandon the memory chip business and go all in on microprocessors.
Right.
It was a risky move, but under his leadership, it paid off spectacularly.
It seems like he had a knack for making those tough decisions.
He did.
But his impact went beyond just strategic calls, right?
Absolutely.
Didn't he also shape Intel's culture
Yeah.
in a profound way?
Absolutely. Grove was a strong advocate for what he called constructive confrontation.
Oh, okay.
He encouraged open debate and challenging assumptions.
Yeah.
This created an environment where ideas could be freely exchanged, tested, and refined.
So it wasn't a culture of blind obedience. It was about everyone contributing, even challenging the status quo.
Exactly.
That's pretty unique, especially for a large company.
It was, and it helped foster a spirit of innovation. And this approach is reflected in the stories of the engineers who worked at Intel.
Yeah.
People like Pat Gelsinger, who would later become Intel's CEO himself.
Okay. I'm sensing another deep dive coming on here.
Okay.
Tell me more about Pat Gelsinger and his role in Intel's story.
Well, Gelsinger's journey is fascinating.
Yeah.
He joined Intel straight out of college and quickly rose through the ranks to become one of their most influential figures. He was the lead architect of the iconic 8486 processor, a chip that revolutionized the PC industry.
Wow, so he was right there on the front lines, pushing the boundaries of what was possible with microprocessor technology.
He was, and his contributions didn't stop there. He was deeply involved in the development of many of Intel's most successful products,
Yeah.
including the Pentium processors and later the Core series, which are still dominant today.
It's amazing to think about the impact that those chips had on the world. They really shaped the way we live, work, interact with technology.
Yeah.
And to think that Gelsinger played such a key role in their development.
He did, and it wasn't just his technical brilliance. He was also known for his leadership and his ability to inspire those around him. He embodies that unique combination of technical expertise and leadership that seems to be a hallmark of Intel's culture.
It's like a perfect blend of brains and charisma, and his story doesn't end there, right? Didn't he eventually become Intel's CEO?
He did. After leaving Intel for a while to lead other companies, he returned in 2021 as CEO.
Wow.
It was like a homecoming, a chance to lead the company where he had started his career.
Yeah.
But this time, he was facing a whole new set of challenges, a rapidly evolving tech landscape, new competitors, and the need to revitalize Intel's position in the industry.
That's incredible, from designing groundbreaking chips to leading the entire company.
Yeah.
Talk about a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Really speaks to his dedication to Intel and his belief in its potential.
It does, and his story underscores a key aspect of Intel's success: the ability to attract and cultivate exceptional talent, not just in engineering, but in all areas of the business.
It's not just about individual brilliance, though, is it? There's also this sense of collaboration, a shared purpose
You're absolutely right.
that seems to drive Intel forward.
Intel has always fostered a culture of teamwork and collaboration, recognizing that the greatest breakthroughs often come from collective efforts. It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
That's a great analogy, and it seems like this sense of shared purpose, this going far mentality, has been a part of Intel's DNA from the very beginning.
It goes back to the company's founders, Robert Noyce and Gordon Moore, and their vision of creating technology that would impact the world. That legacy continues to inspire new generations of Intel employees.
So you have this unique blend of brilliant individuals, a culture that encourages both collaboration and constructive confrontation, and a deep-rooted sense of purpose. It's like a recipe for success, especially in a fast-paced, cutthroat industry like tech.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's this combination of factors that allowed Intel not only to survive, but to thrive amidst constant change and intense competition.
It's inspiring to see how the people of Intel, as they're often called, have shaped the company's destiny.
Right.
But what about the people working behind the scenes?
Yeah.
The unsung heroes who might not have the same level of recognition, but whose contributions are just as vital.
That's a great question and a perfect segue into the next chapter of our exploration.
Okay.
Because while we often hear about the big names, the CEOs and the star engineers, Intel's story wouldn't be complete without acknowledging the countless individuals working in all areas of the company.
You're right. It's the collective effort, the combined brainpower and dedication of thousands of people that makes Intel tick. And I'm betting there are some amazing stories hidden within those ranks.
There are, and in the next part of our deep dive, we'll delve into those stories, exploring the culture of innovation, the challenges and the triumphs of the people who make Intel what it is today.
So we've talked about like the big names at Intel, the
Sure.
CEOs and the lead engineers.
Yeah.
But Intel's story is also about countless individuals working behind the scenes, the people who don't always get the spotlight,
That's right.
but whose contributions are absolutely essential.
That's so true. It's easy to focus on the stars,
Right.
but it's the collective effort, the combined brain power and dedication of thousands of people that truly makes Intel tick.
Yeah, and I imagine there's some incredible stories within those ranks.
Absolutely.
Stories of innovation, problem solving,
Yeah.
maybe even some friendly rivalries within the company itself.
Absolutely. And a big part of that is the culture of innovation that Intel has nurtured. It's not just about having brilliant minds, it's about fostering an environment where those minds can flourish and where ideas can come from anywhere.
So it's not a top-down approach.
Right.
where ideas only come from the executives and everyone else just follows orders.
Not at all. Intel has always encouraged a bottom-up approach, empowering employees at all levels to contribute their ideas and perspectives. I remember reading about this thing they have called the Innovation Fair.
Oh yeah, it's like a science fair but for cutting edge tech.
Exactly.
Right.
Employees from different departments showcase their projects and ideas.
Yeah.
It's a chance for people to share their passions, get feedback,
Right.
and potentially even see their ideas turn into real products.
That's fantastic. It creates a sense of ownership and excitement. You can make a real impact even if you're not, in senior management.
Precisely. And that's one of the things that makes Intel so special.
Right.
They recognize that innovation can come from anywhere. And they've built a system that encourages and rewards that.
And it's not just about the technical side of things either.
Right.
You need people in marketing, sales, operations. It's all contributing to Intel's success in their own unique ways.
Absolutely. It takes a village to bring a microprocessor to market.
Right.
You need people who understand the technology,
Yeah.
people who can communicate its value to customers, and people who can ensure that everything runs smoothly behind the scenes.
It's like this complex machine
Yeah.
with everyone playing their part to keep things moving forward.
That's a great way to put it. And that sense of shared purpose,
Yeah.
that collective drive to achieve something great,
Yeah.
something you feel when you talk to people who work at Intel, it makes it more than just a job.
It's almost like a family,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe a little dysfunctional at times,
Yeah.
given the intense competition and the high pressure environment, but a family nonetheless.
I think that's a pretty accurate analogy when you spend so much time working alongside others striving towards the same goals.
Yeah.
You inevitably form strong bonds.
And those bonds, that sense of camaraderie, probably helps them get through the tough times.
The setbacks, the all-nighters.
Without a doubt, that the semiconductor industry is not for the faint of heart.
No.
It's incredibly demanding and constantly changing.
Right.
You need that support system, those people you can rely on
Yeah.
to navigate the ups and downs.
It's about knowing you're not alone in the trenches.
Yeah.
You have people who will support you, challenge you, and celebrate your victories.
Exactly, and I think that's what makes Intel's story so compelling.
Right.
It's not just about the technology, it's about the people behind it.
Yeah.
The brilliant minds, the dedicated workers, the unsung heroes who collectively made it all happen.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the world of Intel from their humble beginnings to their rise as a tech titan.
Yeah, it has.
What stands out to me is this constant thread of innovation, resilience, and the dedication of the people of Intel.
I agree. And it's clear that their journey is far from over.
Right.
They continue to face new challenges,
Yeah.
explore new frontiers, and push the boundaries of what's possible. And I have no doubt that the people of Intel will continue to be at the heart of that journey, driving innovation, shaping the future of technology in ways we can only imagine.
Well said. And to you, listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Intel.
Yes.
We hope you've gained new appreciation for the human side of this tech giant, the individuals who made it all happen.
And as we wrap up, we encourage you to keep exploring, to keep learning, and to keep wondering about the people behind the chips, the stories behind the code.
Yes.
Because it's those stories that remind us that technology at its core is a human endeavor driven by our creativity, our ingenuity, and our shared desire to push the limits of what's possible.